good, guys? Welcome to the Start Today podcast. I'm your host, Chris Cavallini. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Rick Schaff, who's sporting a fresh new haircut.
Yeah, a little mohawk action.
What's happening,
or faux
Rick?
hawk. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Yeah, man. I don't know if this will drop on a Thursday. It's Thursday where we're
Thursday
standing, but either way,
Gotcha.
Nevertheless. And also here is our creative producer, and he's worked himself way into a co-hosting slot, has he not? Matt Gerard. Matt,
How's it
what
going,
up?
guys? What's up, guys? How's it going?
Cool. So, guys, listen, if this is your first time listening to our podcast, welcome and thank you. I wanted to quickly just, explain in a very brief but direct manner what the Start Today podcast is. I mean, obviously, you guys have tuned in for a reason. Some of you may, know what we're about. Some of you may not. But either way, the Start Today podcast is basically about stepping up. It's about taking responsibility and making the conscious decision to raise your standards and take your life to the next level. All right, we're going to take you on a never-ending journey of personal development, mental toughness, and self-mastery, and teach you the mindset and the practical action steps that are required to evolve and basically become a certified ass-kicking machine of all things life, so that one day you'll be able to plant your flag at the top of the fucking mountain and look to your left and right and basically, acknowledge the fact that because of the mentality that you've adopted and the person that you have become, that you've been able to bring other people up with you. Because that, guys, is what success is about, is not just accomplishing more things and bettering yourself. It's doing that, but doing that in such a way where you have the opportunity to inspire other people to take action as well. And that's what we're doing here.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
So, guys, just if you're not following me on Instagram at Chris Cavallini, please make sure you check me out on there. And Matt, what's your Instagram?
My Instagram is at Matt Gerard, Girard.
And Rick, we're going to get Rick an Instagram by the
really.
end of today. And we don't know his handle yet because it hasn't been created, but he's committed and he's going to make this happen. It's a big step.
I'll do it.
It's so, guys, that's coming soon. But also you can find us on Facebook. Rick, what's your spelling your last name?
Oh, SCHAFF.
Yeah, and mine, guys, Christopher Cavallini. Matt is your name as well. So yeah, guys, connect with us on social. Hit us up. We'd love hearing from you guys. Love the feedback. Just love keeping up with you guys. So also, if you're listening to this, make sure look down at your phone or whatever device you're listening to, and make sure you are in fact subscribed to the podcast. If you're listening on iTunes, if not. Go ahead and make sure you're following if you're on, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, all that stuff, because it helps us, guys. And leaving reviews helps us as well. It helps us grow, helps us rank, and it gives us the ability and opportunity to impact more people. And again, that is the mission, of this journey. And we're in this together. You guys are part of this movement, and we need your help. We need your support to basically, fulfill our destiny and the prophecy, I believe, of why we're doing this and basically what this show is all about at the end of the day. So subscribe and leave a review, and just understand it really, really helps us. I appreciate it very much. And that is that as far as that component. Now to get into the good stuff. Today, I don't know that I'm an expert at anything. However, if I had to say, one thing that I am probably the best qualified at out of all the things that I'm, fairly decent at, I feel like pretty well-rounded, I would say the thing that I'm best at is getting myself in very, very fucked up situations and then pulling my shit together and getting myself out. And not only getting myself out, but arriving at a place that I'd never been at before, taking those fucked up situations, turning them into opportunities, and being able to grow as a direct result.
Yeah, dude, I don't know very many people that have faced more adversity in their life, even from a young age.
Yeah.
And until when I met you, it's just every week.
Nonstop.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Nonstop.
So you're a pro.
Yeah. So guys, with that said, the thesis, the subject, the title of today's show is Overcoming Adversity like a boss? Because I get this question several times a week, whether it's on social media, people that, I meet, they ask, how do you get through the tough times? When things aren't going well and you hit a rough patch, you don't know what the next step is. You're depressed, you're consumed by all these things. Like, how do you fucking pull it together and figure out like how to get out? And honestly, I think this is something that a lot of people need training and education in. And I mean, the fact is, whether we like it or not, we're all going to face adversity. And if you're someone who's out there trying to do big things with your life and, just basically create an awesome life, it is extremely irresponsible for you to believe that will be able to materialize without you having to deal with some shit, without you having to face hardship, without you, having to struggle and get very, very uncomfortable and be extremely stressed for extended periods of time. I think people fuck up there, man. They think that, when they get stressed or things get really hard, that means stop.
Yeah, adversity comes no matter what, all throughout life, but especially when you're starting a business, it's going to hit you. It's part of
business, but not only with business. I mean, it's part of growth with anything. Anything, because no matter how good of a human being you are, no matter how prepared you may think yourself to be, life is going to hit you when you least fucking expect it, because that's what life does. Today's podcast is basically going to be broken up. This episode's going to be broken up into 3 sections. Okay, we're going to basically discuss the importance of adversity and why it's actually needed to become the best version of yourself, and why it shouldn't be feared but celebrated.
Yeah.
Right. We're gonna discuss what not to do when you encounter adversity. I'm very much looking forward to diving into that. And then finally, how do you overcome adversity like a boss? How do you get to a place where mentally you look forward and you anticipate, you seek out adverse situations because you know that at the other end of that struggle, the other end of that hardship, within that just very, very stressful, chaotic, borderline out of control situation, that there's a better place. I'm going to teach you guys how to do that. I'm going to teach you what to do. I'm going to guide you through this process. I'm going to help you basically get to a point where you have that mentality, to whereas when you encounter the unexpected curveballs that life will inevitably throw your way, that you're prepared and you know exactly what to fucking do to not only get through that situation, but find the opportunity within so you could come out the other end better than you've ever been before.
Yeah.
So with that said, let's get into it, gentlemen, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. So, man, I'm happy to be talking about this because I love talking about this. I love adversity. I do.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, honestly, I'm at a point in my life now where people will sometimes, the business, obviously, my objective is to always grow. Like, I don't care how good things are going. I don't care that, this last week we had the highest revenue that we've had all year. Like, that just makes me want to do more. That makes me want to like step my own game up and push the team to do the same, because like we now have validation that the work that we're putting in is, it's working.
Yeah.
So, while most people like, get complacent in those situations, like I want to go harder. Like I want to do more. Right.
Yeah,
like,
and then that creates growing pains.
Totally. Yeah. Exactly. And that's exactly where I was going with it. So, I get news from time to time that something has happened or something is happening. And honestly, like, a couple very short years ago, I would respond and feel a very, very different way. They'd come to me with some problem that we have going on or some situation that cost, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. Like that money's not coming back in theory. And, before I kind of got to where I'm at now and just and went through so many things and realized the opportunity that is always within these situations, I'd act like a little bitch. I'd be upset. I'd be negative. I'd look for somebody to blame. And I would basically do the opposite of what I do now. And now when people come to me and, they tell me about, something has happened and it puts us in a kind of a vulnerable situation and basically puts a little more on our plate than normal. Like, dude, I like a little sick, mischievous, like smirk comes on my face because I look forward to those opportunities. I look forward to those tests. I look forward to diving into something where like I know that we have the ability to basically just test ourselves mentally, to test ourselves like as a team, and to basically anytime something with business happens where it would in theory like affect the team in some way, I love that because it's so much shit going on, and even though I do pride myself and put a lot of time and money and resources into developing the team via the personal development, all the training we have here, I because of my schedule and everything I have going on, like I wish I could do more. That's just a fact. I wish I could do more, but when these situations happen, like that gives me the ability and basically puts our back against a wall to where we have to do something. And what I always relish in these situations is getting people involved that otherwise wouldn't normally be part of like the higher end problem solving like initiative, and basically pulling people in. That's a good delegating something to them, giving them ownership in something, and basically seeing how they handle it. Yeah. And honestly, when you do that, you get very surprised and proud of what people are capable of. And when people are willing to step up, they're willing to step up.
And if you don't do that, they're going to keep coming to you with everything. I was an assistant director on a movie set, and I remember everybody would reach out to me for everything that was going on. And what I observed is if I wasn't able to get back to them right away, they would solve the problem themselves. Mm-hmm. So I started not answering people on purpose and wait 5 minutes. And then typically 70% of the problems would resolve themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's what you got to
totally, do. Man. And giving these people the opportunity to step up, not only does it give you the ability to assess them and see what they're capable of, it gives them the opportunity to understand what they are actually capable
to grow.
Of. Yeah. Totally. So listen, I don't think it can be denied at this point that humanity has slowly and surely evolved into a basically soft-willed, comfort-seeking generation of individuals who have just lost touch with their hunter-gatherer ancestry roots, right? Like we as a society have become obsessed with the path of least resistance, and it's a huge problem.
You're right.
It's a huge fucking problem.
In general, we're speaking. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, like, what most people fail to recognize, and I think
which is a great opportunity for a lot of people who, are not going to choose that path.
Dude, totally.
That's the beauty of it. If you're out there listening, that means you're one of those people who's interested in succeeding and not choosing that path like everybody else is.
Exactly. And honestly, that is a quick way to separate yourself from the pack. That is a quick way to isolate you and put you in, that category, which, that the way you move up and the way, you create better opportunities for yourself is by setting your actions up in such a way where like the spotlight is forced on you. And honestly, if you are someone who, and after listening to this, hopefully you begin to do the things that we're going to talk about so you can become that person, because it will literally help you grow personally, professionally, and just overall just make you like stronger, tougher, smarter, and better.
It's probably always been like that throughout history, this path of least resistance
I don't know, man.
But it does seem now, it seems overwhelming.
It hasn't. Let me tell you why. Because things have become easier for us. Things have become easier for us with the accessibility of, like, you go on Amazon, you get something delivered to your house the next day, as opposed to like, 10, 20, 30, not that, but, years ago, like people would have to commute. Sometimes maybe you walk miles to and from the store in inclement weather in these shitty conditions. So like, it was a different dynamic, right? Like you had to, like people used to work really, really, really fucking hard for very, very little monies, and there was no complaining. That's just the way it fucking was.
Yeah, I got something to add to that. I
Yeah.
think that like the path of least resistance and like comfortability and stuff like that. I think that's like a kind of like almost like a survival mechanism that's like kind of built in. Like, hey, stay comfortable, don't fucking die, you know. And I feel like there's levels to it. So like, you know, you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. After a while, that comfortability does kick in, and that becomes actually comfortable, right? So the more you could recognize that, hey, like this is gonna suck at first, but I'm gonna get to that next level, and this is gonna be comfortable now. You know,
Yeah,
it's kinda
there's
like
no
that.
way, like there's no way to ever get to a point that, you know, when you're doing something new and you're attempting to change your routine or take on a new initiative or a new goal, there's no way physiologically that you will not feel feelings and experience feelings of discomfort. It's not like biologically possible. What we're talking about is recognizing that just because you feel those things, that doesn't mean stop. It means the opposite. You need to go towards your fear. You need to go and do the things that hurt. You need to struggle a little bit. You need to struggle a lot, because not only will it make you better, it will prepare you and put you in a much, much better position to deal with the adversity that, again, like it or not, life is going to throw your way. You know, you have the opportunity to choose to put yourself in these situations, whether, you know, going, doing tough workouts, just basically, you know, taking the time after, you know, you work 8, 9, 10 hours to allocate 1 hour to studying and feeding your brain, training your mind. Like, you can do all of these things, and it's not necessarily going to be fun, but it is rewarding. And on top of the fact that it's rewarding, it gets you ready, man. It gets you ready for the involuntary shit that life's gonna, you know, basically serve you, you know, basically when you least expect it, and most likely in the worst possible fucking time that that it can.
And I guess, you know, you kind of hit on the fact of like fear. It's the fear of failure. That's probably what holds most people back, right? It's that fear of failure. But you got to face your fears, like you're saying, because that's the only way you're going to get ahead.
Yep.
Yeah.
So adversity, struggle, and extreme hardship, all those things are required for human beings to reach their full potential. Okay? Like, life's most important lessons can't be taught directly. They have to be experienced. So, you know, you gotta like understand that, talking about like, you know, doing things that are uncomfortable and such, like, why do people voluntarily do things that are very hard, very stressful, and in a lot of situations very, very dangerous? Like, why would they do this? Like, what do they know that we don't, right? Like, people probably don't make that connection. Like, oh wow, that motherfucker's crazy. It's like, dude, he's not crazy. He's, or she is brilliant. They have woken up. They have realized that by, you know, there's this guy that I just recently, I read about him, and then I looked up an interview he did. I looked at a clip on the Joe Rogan podcast. The guy's name is Colin O'Brady. Okay, this guy basically hiked across Antarctica, 932 miles over the course of 54 days, okay, with no support. Like, literally, there's like no like helpers or like little camps like to refill supplies and bullshit. This motherfucker just went across Antarctica, where the average temperature across the continent of Antarctica is negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it's cold.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But he did this voluntarily. He did this because he wanted to test himself, you know. And then you get guys like David Goggins. I mean, if you guys are listening to this, I'm sure you know who that is. If not, you can check him out. You know, he was a Navy SEAL who basically was, you know, known for just came up, tough upbringing, you know, had some circumstances similar to mine. I mean, less, you know, I don't think he really got in any trouble or anything like that. But through his, you know, coming up and dealing with, you know, things and struggle and a fucked up family and, you know, that type of thing, he was able to like identify pretty early on that, you know, that struggle, that hardship, it actually gave him tools that he was able to use in his life to basically allocate towards accomplishing success. And this guy's like ran like 100-mile races, just done some fucking crazy, just absolutely like mind-blowing things where, you know, he did these races like with broken legs going into it. And just like the guy is just like a mental savage. And, you know, and then the same thing can be said, like you see sometimes like on Instagram, or you see some of these like really old people, like 100 years old, like doing like little races. They're doing like the 40. It's like, these people have figured it out, man. Like they fucking understand that test, you know, basically testing of your will and your mentality. It basically sets you up to where, you know, you're doing hard things. It'll make the rest of your life easier.
Yeah, that's what the Ironman triathlon's all about. Totally. Think of people like Jack LaLanne who would like handcuff himself and tow boats down the road, like crazy stuff. Like what?
And the thing is, like, I don't think that part is really talked about too much as far as why these people actually do that, you know, and
because I think you would think it's for attention.
Yeah, exactly. For some pointless world record in the book, and it's.
But that's when going back to the Ironman triathlon. I said it before, but it's true. It's like when I got dropped into that thing to cover it, I thought it was a race. I didn't know it was about, you know, doing the impossible thing to prove that nothing can stop you in life. I mean, that's what the race is about. It's a race for the first, you know, 50 people.
Yep.
But outside of that, it's completely different. It's life-changing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. So guys, look, don't edit that out. Listen, adversity is not something that should be feared. It needs to be celebrated.
Dude, say that again, because that's it. That's like people are listening, and that's what sets them back. It's that fear. Like you can't be scared to fail. It's like everybody fails.
Not even fail. You can't be scared to.
But you can't be scared
to hurt a little bit. You can't be scared to fucking be stressed for weeks and months. If on the other end of that is a beautiful place.
Yeah, think about, you know, it's funny you just said that. It just reminded me of like the tale of Jesus, right? It's like the tale of, there's two sides to a cross. There's the crucifixion and then the resurrection. But you can't get to the resurrection without going through the crucifixion, all the torment, all the pain, all the betrayal. Like it's like that simple story is true, right?
Celebrate adversity, guys. Embrace it, okay? Because without it, you can't get better. Little shameless plug for Nutrition Solutions. Celebrate adversity is actually one of our core values.
Oh, yeah.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I understand that, and I want the team to understand that. I also want, you know, it's hard for people that hadn't been around or like are young or just haven't been experienced to know, like, you know, when we run into certain unexpected problems or challenges and like things get stressful and a little crazy, it's hard for them to kind of like make the connection as far as why that's happening. And it's easy for people to sometimes just get negative and want to, you know, maybe this person doesn't know what the hell they're doing. But if they understand that that is part of the process, that is a direct byproduct, a positive byproduct of growth, you know, it puts them in a better frame of mind to understand, okay, so the reason things are so crazy and the reason we're rushing around and having to, like, you know, crank out thousands of more meals is because we have the opportunity to help more people. More people are signing up for our company. More people are making the decision to raise their standards and start eating good and change that. And they're giving us the opportunity to help them do that. So if they understand and make that connection, it allows them to, you know, not shut down in the wake of adversity, but celebrate it and understand that because you are in a situation where adversity is being faced, it means you're growing.
Right. And if you're doing anything that's worthwhile, you're going to face adversity. So you have to do exactly these things, right? Or else.
Yeah. So every hardship, crisis, or encounter with adversity, understand it's an opportunity for growth and to learn, and it needs to be viewed as such. All right. The problem, however, with adversity, and the part most people struggle to deal with, is like the value and the benefits of like said adverse situation or tragedy is the benefit typically doesn't reveal itself till long down the road. And that's the thing that a lot of people have a hard time, you know, accepting and realizing. See, when I'm in adverse situations, which happen routinely, semi-routinely. I mean, I guess to a lower degree now. Like I don't know what the benefit is going to be, but because I've been through it so many times and I've came out on the other end a better person, as well as have the people around me, I get excited because I know that that's what I celebrate the adversity, because I know that it is inevitable.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? So like you got to overcome the adversity and then the good shit will happen, right? That's just how it works, guys. Unfortunately, you're not going to, be given a reward or benefit during the adversity, nor will you be able to experience the value of the adversity if you quit. Winning, learning, and growing in spite of adversity is the only way to reach the next level. When you are at a point where it is time to go to the next level, that is not going to transpire without a challenge of some sort. I used to say, like, when talking about adversity and facing adversity, it's almost like a video game, right? You go through the level and whatever, and then at the end of the level, in order to progress to the next level, you have to fight like the big boss. That big challenge is harder than anything else you've done in that level. And it's hard as hell. Yeah. But in order to get to the next level, in order to progress, you have to defeat that boss. And that's what it is here, guys. And, regardless of what we're talking about, okay? Regardless if we're talking about, just some unexpected, crazy turn of events, somebody fucking you over, you losing a job, any of these things, there's always opportunity that's present. Mm-hmm. But you have to be looking for it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So step one is there's adversity. Mm-hmm. Welcome it.
Celebrate it. Celebrate it. And the thing is, when you're angry, frustrated, depressed, sad, or broken, those situations teach you lessons that you will never forget. Mm-hmm. But again, there's also opportunity. There's the opportunity to learn, to grow, to get stronger, to get smarter, to get more resilient, and overall just become a more effective, efficient, higher caliber human being.
It's true.
But you have to recognize that, man. And I think most people do not. And that's a huge fucking
That's
problem.
True. You just described a period of my life where I was really down, and I chose to get up and
keep fighting.
Put my clothes on, my good clothes, and try to look my best and put a fake smile on and go out. But that's exactly what I did. I learned new things. I worked really hard. I felt like hell for years going through this period of my life.
We'll talk a little
looking
about that.
back.
What was going on?
It was a girl issue.
Yep.
I wanted to marry a girl, and it didn't work out. And it killed me.
I mean, with all the freaking models and everything that you've been with, man, Rick was a photographer for a lot of years, not just any bullshit photographer, a very high profile photographer, and photographed some of the most famous people of, his time, and some of the baddest females of, that this world has ever seen. So she must have been a really good one, man.
She was, she was awesome, but it didn't work out.
Maybe it was the fact that you were crushing so much ass back then.
No, I was just with her.
Yeah. In case she's listening.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but honestly, like that kind of thing, like I said, it can really bring you down. And if you don't choose to try and grow in that period, I mean, you can lose it. You can go all the way down. I get why people do drugs and become alcoholics and stuff like that. But during that period, even though I felt like hell, I did exactly that. I pushed into myself really hard. I wrote a book. I did all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And the beautiful thing about it is, at that time period, you're not happy. You're not happy every day. I mean, this was for like 5 years. I was
acting
not
in
happy.
Despite of your feelings.
Yeah, but every day I was getting better and better. At things. I was just pushing in. I was learning things. I was studying all kinds of different things that I wouldn't probably have the time to do if I were with her. And what happened is, years later, I look back on that time period and I say, it was the worst of times and it was the best of times.
Totally. And I'm glad that you said that, because this is something I will probably reference at every opportunity during every episode. You have to learn to act in spite of your feelings. Your feelings are not real. They are
Right.
they are emotions that are created based off your perception, based off your experience, based off your surroundings. Just because you don't feel like doing something, there's no law in place, whether it's like, you know, we're talking about legal or like law of the universe, that says you can't go anyway. You have to go anyway. That's how winning is done. Winning is done by getting up, getting your shit together, pulling yourself together on the days that literally you would rather fucking die than take another step. Those are the fucking days, and those are the moments that determine where your life will go.
And they matter the most. We were out to eat the other night, me and Chris, and he was sharing a story with me about a time period. I don't know if you can talk about it legally.
Yeah. I don't want. So yeah, I can, and I don't care. I did sign a thing, but I'm happy to talk about it. I honestly was thinking about bringing that up in this one, but I believe to give that story the justice, it needs to be like its own thing.
Yeah, it's crazy though.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm gonna make that its own podcast because I want to make sure I give the specific details. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is crazy. At the time, like, it didn't seem crazy. It seemed like fucking hell. Like how could this possibly be happening to me? Like, I'm in an unwinnable situation, and it was a real, like a modern day David versus Goliath story. And I did what I had to do. I did not. When I felt like the opposite of feeling like it, that's what I was feeling. But I also knew that quitting wasn't an option. I knew that if I lied down, then some.
How close were you to quitting at that time?
Probably closer than I've ever been.
Probably.
Right. I don't know that I've ever really quit anything like my entire life that I can think of.
Yeah.
But I was probably closer than any other time, because I've thought about quitting a million times with every, you know, it's natural. You think whatever justifications, but very close. But, you know, you do what you have to do because you know that if you quit once, that is not something that, you know, you don't just forget about it and just move on and then, you know, go and just win everything else. You have now started a pattern. You've created momentum in an unfavorable way, and that just wasn't an option for me, man. Yeah. I had to do what I had to do to fucking basically. I mean, I told you not, and when I tell the story, this is what I said to you. Like, I believe that what I was able to do with a very, very small, like less than, you know, one handful group of people, I don't think anybody else in the world could have done what we pulled off and what we did. I don't think most people would not have the stomach or the balls to do it. And, the small percentage of people who might have the balls and the stomach probably wouldn't have seen it to be worth their time and their energy. But I felt like ethically it had to be done, and I just couldn't let these other motherfuckers win, man. Yeah. I couldn't lay down. But nevertheless, so guys, we've talked about why adversity is important. Okay, now we're gonna dive into what not to do when you encounter adversity. Okay, here's the thing. As mentioned, you are going to encounter adversity. You're going to run into struggle. You're going to go through hard times. You're going to have a breakup. You're going to have financial problems. Somebody dear to you is going to unexpectedly and tragically pass away. You may lose your job. What are some other things? Financial problems. You're going to run into financial problems. Absolutely. I don't give a fuck how much money you make. You will get
You're to have staff issues. I mean,
you will have problems with your business. You will have problems with coworkers. You will have issues with subordinates. You're going to have issues with employees. You're going to have fucking problems. Okay. And the thing is, like, adversity comes in many forms, right? Like, there's massive, like, crazy situations where, like, you know, I'll tell you a quick story. I would say, and there's been so much adversity in so many situations. It's hard to, like, kind of really choose one.
I just pick one.
Back in 2016, we basically were a much smaller company with a much less organized setup, with lower standards across the board, period. And that was all because of me. I mean, my standards were different then, and that's where we were at. Long story short, you know, I don't remember how many customers we had, maybe 400 customers at the time. Yeah, that basically what had happened is we were. This is just so funny, like thinking about like how we were doing things like it was the Stone Age. We basically were like managing like our clients' like orders and their respective meal plans, which, you know, could be, it basically dictates their portion size, how many meals they get, right? Any preferences they have. They have food allergies, if they don't like tomatoes or whatever. Like, you know, now we have a very sophisticated like CRM that, you know, auto populates everything and sorts everything for us. You know, back then we were using a Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
So basically, guys,
remember
just to put it in the easiest way to understand possible, imagine like 400 names on a Excel spreadsheet with all their preferences, you know, their address and all that and whatnot, where their food was to be delivered. Somehow, there was an issue where whoever was, you know, managing the Excel sheet hit something where every cell like auto-populated like up or down. So basically every cell of like the information, the name stayed in the same place, but all the information, the number of meals, the address,
Changed,
the allergies, the restrictions, all that shifted. When I tell you, like I remember it was really interesting because I was actually at work. It was a Sunday, and I was leaving. I was getting in my car, and I got a text from somebody who's a friend of mine and also a client, and he had my personal number, and he texted me and he said, "Hey man, I just wanted to give you the heads up. My order was incorrect. This. This was back when I used to get messages like that, right? And then like I got another one, and then another one, and then my email starts blowing up, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
So it took probably about an hour to figure out what had actually happened and to kind of like determine like how bad this in fact was. And now remember, these meals they weren't just local. We're talking about like all over Florida at this point. So now it is officially a grade A crisis because we have clients that receive food that they had allergies to. Orders were people that paid for 28 meals got 10. People that paid for 10 meals got 28. Chaos. And in that situation, man, like what most people probably would have done is, you know, maybe send an email out to their customers and say, hey, you know, we made this mistake. We'll like next week we'll make your order correctly and credit you, blah, blah, blah. Like I took a different mindset, man. And, you know, granted I wasn't financially anywhere near where I am now. And we were not in a good, I mean, we weren't in the position to do this, but I saw an opportunity there. I saw an opportunity to show our clients that although we are not perfect, that we really care. So I basically got the team that I had together at that time, and I basically said, listen, guys, here's what I want to do, okay? We fucked up. This is probably the biggest crisis in the history of the meal prep industry. I was like, remember, these people come to us because they need us to help them stay on track to accomplish their goals. And they rely on us to provide them the tools they need to get where they want to be, feel the way they want to feel, and look the way they want to look. And honestly, I don't want to let them down. So we have done that, but we can do something about it. It's going to be very, very difficult, and I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but I would like to make this right. I want to somehow figure out how we can produce all of the meals again and basically do 3 days of work or 4 days of work in one day. And then not only that, with no staff, by the way.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then we had to figure out how we were going to deliver it, because back then we were using a third party like logistics company that would come in and they would do the deliveries, and they were not available during the week. So it's like, and then we have to figure out, we have to somehow deliver it. And honestly, dude, we got after it. We literally, every single client got a personal phone call explaining to them what has happened and explaining to them what we were going to do about it. And Rick, when I tell you,
do? I want to hear this.
When I tell you that mistake cost us from what we could calculate, $36,000, which was like $1 million, right? Compared to right now. It was rough, but when I tell you, man, I was so like scared that like I'm like, this is the end. I'm like, that was a nice run. Like, I guess it's been a good like few years. Like this is it. This is the way it's going to end. When I tell you that the opposite of what I thought was going to happen actually happened, brother, we had people writing these amazing emails, like, it was like basically me and Joe Lopez that were making the calls. People that were like thanking us, like genuinely thanking us.
Yeah.
So we just fucked their entire shit up. Maybe possibly gave them something that they were allergic to, didn't give them what they paid for. And they're thanking us for calling them and thanking us for going above and beyond to make it right. Dude, we had clients local, like that lived in this area that actually asked us if we needed any help with the redelivery, because we were on it. We told them exactly what our plan was.
That's pretty awesome.
We wanted to be honest because we weren't sure if it was going to actually work, but we were going to go down swinging. Dude, and we took them up on that because we needed the help. So we had there was one guy and then one female that came in and actually helped us redeliver some of the meals locally. And when I tell you that situation gained us so much fucking respect and rapport and basically loyalty from these clients that we fuck things up with, brother, it completely changed my perspective as it relates to, making, huge mistakes, letting your clients down, your customers, fucking things up, and made me realize, like, when that happens, because it always will, there's always opportunity. And in that particular instance, when it comes to fucking things up with your clients and customers, that opportunity is to show them that you care.
So this is a very valuable story because, like you said, most people will think a little differently. They think like, how do I cut my costs and make things okay?
For me.
Yeah. So let's say you're working with a contractor and he does something and to cut his costs, he tries to get you to pay for stuff, blah, 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 right? You went the exact opposite. You said, I'm going to take full responsibility and redo everything at our cost. What do you think would happen if you didn't do that? And you went the other way? Are people used to it enough that they would...
I can't even imagine because my mind does not work like that. But, that is a good segue because, the second, part of this discussion is to identify what not to do when you encounter adversity and experience hardship. And the first thing, under no circumstances, are you to make excuses, are you to cast blame on other people, other things, or other fictitious...
Because that's what most people do. That's what's so valuable. If you can get that out of your head, take full responsibility, right?
Take full responsibility. And understand that some of these things, whether we're talking about, fucking something up in business or, getting to a point where, you're struggling financially, like, dude, that is on you. Now, there's other things where things unexpectedly happen, crisis, adversity, and unexpected, loss or whatever. You can't necessarily prevent that. You couldn't have prevented that from happening, but you certainly can deal with it in a much healthier, more productive way than complaining, than being bitter, and just overall, exacerbating the negative energy in the situation. Obviously, that's not very positive in context.
You know what else is fascinating about what you did is you looked at it not from your perspective, but from the perspective of your clients. And that is huge because most people don't. They're always thinking about, how's this going to affect me? How's it going to affect my company? Blah, blah, blah. But looking at it from the perspective of your clients, like you said, they're counting on us. They're changing their life. We're here to help them. We have to make this right.
There was no other option. And
what if so many companies did that? It'd be unbelievable, right?
Their companies would do 10x, like the 10x the size of it. But somehow, some way, we pulled it off. And honestly, like looking back on it now, like I'm not surprised that we did, because when you act with selfless intentions and you are just fixated on doing the right thing, despite seemingly impossible odds or unwinnable circumstances.
But
things just have a funny way of working themselves out.
Yeah, and that's how you win loyalty. Like you said, your clients were so blown away by the fact that you would do that, right?
Yeah.
You won them forever.
And I honestly, that wasn't my intention. So, hey guys, if you do this, I'm thinking I'm just thinking, wait, let's just do the right thing here. I hadn't even in my mind sorted out how I'm going to pay the next, like the rent on this place or the bills because of that massive financial hit at the time. But it worked out, and we arrived in a better place. But yeah, guys, first thing, under no circumstances do you make excuses. Do you cast blame? Do you do anything but take responsibility over the situation? Own it. And taking responsibility can simply mean you're taking responsibility, not over the fact, over what happened due to, certain situations being outside of your control, but making the conscious choice to deal with it in the most healthy manner and productive manner for yourself and for the people around you. All right. The second thing that you are under no circumstances to do, which a lot of you guys either have done this or are currently doing this, and it needs to stop. It needs to fucking stop now. Don't wear your problems around like a badge of honor. All right. If something or some area of your life is fucked up, which it will be at some point, walking around with that energy, with a just a shitty demeanor, just being short with people, like, having your head down, just being a shithead, dude, that is the opposite of what you want to do.
Or airing it out on Facebook.
Oh, but dude, that's my third thing. That's my third thing. Yeah. We need to prepare a little more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like by doing that, guys, just understand, like, not only is it very, very unfair, very selfish thing to do by just putting negative energy into the world and bringing other people down around you, you are only making the situation that much worse on yourself, as well as prolonging the time of the feelings of shittiness, prolonging and intensifying the feelings that you are experiencing at that point. Okay. Understand that your problems are your responsibility. So by taking responsibility and taking ownership, and then, we're going to get into, what to do to, like, take the steps to overcome adversity, but you have to take the action to fix the situation, to make the situation better. And just by doing that, you begin to feel better. The reason people walk around with that, like that, the shitty vibes and, have an issue and then let it, contaminate every other area of their life, is because they're sitting around thinking that the situation is just going to resolve itself magically. And that, I don't know how old the planet is, man, depends who you ask. But since human beings have been around the human species, there's not one documented instance that problems have just organically corrected themselves as it relates to people.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. All right. So guys, don't wear your problems around like a badge of honor. Nobody gives a fuck. I honestly mean that. People have their own shit.
It also goes to the fact that, like I said, whatever you're dwelling on is going to grow. So if you're constantly focused on whatever's negative, that's usually going to become more of an issue.
It's not usually it.
Yeah,
100% of the time, it's going to bring more negativity into your life.
Yeah, it's like if you had, let's say you were diagnosed with cancer. If you constantly thought about the fact that you had cancer and it was going to kill you, it's probably going to progress a lot faster than if you thought about how you were going to recover and you dwelled upon how
that's a deeper discussion.
Sure, right.
And honestly, like, we are going to get into that, and we're going to do a podcast episode on the law of attraction and how that works.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you did get into a practical example, because let's say, I don't mean to keep bringing it up, but let's say like you go through a breakup, right? You go through a breakup and your little feelings are hurt because, you stalk your ex's social media and you see they're out with someone else, or they're just out in general. And, every worst case scenario goes through your fucking insecure, weak mind at that point. And then you in turn, like, allow those feelings to overwhelm you, and basically it's like it controls you. So now you bring that shitty demeanor into the workplace, and you have an attitude, and you're not feeling it, and you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Now your work performance slides, and then possibly maybe you get into a situation where you get let go. And now, on top of the fact that, your ex has moved on, you now have financial problems. So now we have that. So now we've literally just thrown gasoline on the campfire.
That's true.
So that's the thing, like, wearing your problems around and having it like consume you and fucking just own you and essentially spill over in every other area of your life is a losing strategy. Losers do that shit.
Yeah.
And honestly, by taking responsibility and taking action, it will prevent that from being, being an issue and getting out of control. Third thing, Rick already gave you a little spoiler.
No.
Under no circumstances are you allowed to ever post whiny, complaining, passive-aggressive loser statuses on social media.
Pathetic.
It is so fucking, dude. Like, I can't handle it.
Yeah.
I just
Call
I just
people
can't.
out.
I do. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, this is probably not the best use of my time, but there are times if I see it, I will legitimately take the time and I will comment with a paragraph articulating in a very like polished manner why they shouldn't be doing that, and basically like allow them to take a hard look at themselves. And I've been pretty effective with that because like I've then seen like, I've gotten messages from people that thanked me like for doing it, and they pulled the status down, and I'm, whatever. I'm not going to listen. That's like, look, dude, that's just to me, like if you do that, you're a loser. And I know some of you guys are hearing this. You've probably done that. And I'm sorry that you currently fit that bill, but please understand that this doesn't define you for the rest of time. Like you, in the moment, you let your feelings control you. You let your feelings dictate your course of action. You let your feelings take control. And that's not wise, because you're putting yourself out there to the world, to people who don't know you, to people who do know you, friends, family, and you're basically making yourself look very, very weak. And you're doing it you're doing it because you need attention at that point, because you perceive on a psychological level that attention that you will in turn get from this loser status post that you've done is going to somehow cure your feelings of shittiness. And as you have realized or will realize, it doesn't fucking work now, does it? It just destroys your credibility. And although you might get a few likes, you might get some comments, right? Especially if you're a chick and like, you're on there bitching about a guy, and, you get a bunch of thirsty dudes who are trying to, like hit it, like just like, and guys, don't do that either. Don't leave those fucking comments. You look weak too, but that's a whole other thing we could discuss at a later date. True. Guys, like I don't want to, sound too crazy with this, but like, just understand that is not the right thing to do. Okay. Like you're hurting yourself. You're basically slowing down the recovery process. And again, you're contributing to you're making an already not so good. You're making an issue that probably isn't even really that big of a fucking deal, into a huge fucking deal, because you're putting your focus and your energy into the problem and just letting it consume you, as opposed to focusing
on the solution,
on the fucking solution.
That's what you got to do.
That is exactly what you have to do. And, we're getting into that.
That's unfortunate. Like, most people focus on the problem.
Yep. Yeah. And then look, the bottom line is, don't make your situation 100 times worse by talking to everyone about it in a complaining like manner. Don't do that. It's very, very selfish. It is not an indication of good character. It is a huge demonstration of weakness. And again, it will in fact slow down the process of what, there's obviously sometimes in some situations, it takes a while to get through adversity. Sure. It takes a while to overcome extreme hardship. It just does.
And you can be truthful about it. It hurts, but be positive.
Exactly.
In the
I'm not saying don't talk
regard.
don't seek, I'm not saying don't talk to anybody. Like if you have a friend and you want to talk about what you're doing in a productive angle to get through, that is fine. But by just running around and just putting your shitty energy and problems in other people's lives, there's no positive outcome that can then come out of that. And you just have to be aware of that. Although you might be tempted to, because you feel that the attention you get, it's better than how you're feeling now. Dude, it's just going to hurt you in the long run, okay? Yeah. Don't worry about the instant gratification. Worry about finding a solution to your problem. Last thing, probably the most important, thing is, how do we overcome adversity like a boss? Well, there's a lot of ways that you can do it, but it all starts with recognizing the fact that adversity is always accompanied by opportunity. So you have to recognize that within the situation that you have the ability to level up and basically become a more enhanced, like higher performing, functioning, experience, wiser, more resilient, resourceful, confident, better version of your current self.
True.
So, and look, here's the thing. We touched on, different things that happen, and, we kind of already, I guess, gave a little perspective, like what to do and all that. But like the people will deal with adversity in a number of ways. Okay. I got this like as a bullet point written here. It's like, we beat this one to death, but with breakups. Look, I'm no relationship expert, but I will tell you that getting over a breakup is actually pretty simple. It's pretty simple and straightforward as far as what needs to happen in order to, quote unquote, recover from a breakup. I guess maybe the obvious thing would be identify the fact that you broke up. You have broken up.
Yeah.
Which means like things are not well and things have not been well.
Right.
There is something or a series of things that have happened that have led you to a point to decide to no longer want to fuck with that other individual. Yeah. So let's accept that. Okay.
Let's take responsibility.
Let's take responsibility, right? Like, understand that either you fucked up or you fucked up by like dating someone who was a fucking loser and didn't really care about you and only cared about themselves, or was a lying slut, or fucking either way, like whatever. Like, dude, that's something, own it. Yeah. Okay. Don't sit there and obsess in your mind about the fact that you broke up and now, who are they with? Who, like, what the fuck? Don't worry about what the fuck they're doing. Worry about what you're doing. And that, dude, that is again what people do. They
but
stalk.
Also too, something you said before we talked about, which I think is fascinating that no one does in a breakup, is look at it from the other person's perspective.
Look, you could do that, or you could just not look at anything from that person or think about them anymore, because you're so busy and focused on bettering yourself and leveling up that you don't even have the time or energy to do that. And honestly, that is the best thing that you can do. Okay. Don't worry about what they're doing. Don't think about what they're doing. Under no circumstances are you to look at their social media, talk to their friends about them, and try to still attach yourself. So by being like trying to keep in touch with their mom and their dude, when I see people doing that, I'm like, God, it's so obvious to me what they're doing. And it's like, they're hurting themselves. They're hurting themselves because, listen, I think most people, like, biggest problem, like, with breakups, I mean, unless, like, you just, like, cheat just to get some ass, and that's the only reason, and you really are in love or whatever, but you're just selfish and not loyal, and you get caught, but you didn't really want to break up. So that's probably maybe the only, I guess, situation where, like, a breakup would happen and it wouldn't be kind of like mutually, like, beneficial to, like, some degree, or maybe one is just a total fucking loser and just smartens up, the other one smartens up and gets on with their life. Yeah. But the fact is, like, it is probably not going to feel good, regardless of what has happened between you and the other person. If you guys some problems and broke up, regardless of what happened, regardless of the problems you had, it will never feel good taking the time out of your day to think about someone who you really at one point cared about, thinking about them like having sex with someone else.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt.
So why do you do that? Matt, do you have any input?
Why do we all do that?
Yeah, I mean, a breakup can go one way or the other. I mean, you can get dumped, or you can break up with somebody. And I mean, if you get dumped, that sucks, because you feel like you're on the losing end of that. But I mean, like, I've got this, kind of what we touched on so far is, you recognize your adversity, and then you look for opportunity. That's the second step. So I mean, what opportunity do you have now? Okay, you're single now, so go make something happen. Mm-hmm. That's all you can really do.
Yeah, and I think that was very well said.
Yeah, I agree.
But look, breakups, what to do when you break up. All right, listen, understand that you broke up for a reason. Okay, as Matt said, recognize the fact that you're single. So now you have more energy, you have more time, you have the ability now to use that freed up energy that most likely you had some negative energy that was encompassing your life for an extended period of time that you no longer have. So now you can take that energy and you can invest it into a productive, positive outlet. Like getting in the gym and getting in the best shape of your fucking life so you can in turn find a hotter, fitter, better, like next girlfriend
And make
boyfriend,
your ex feel bad.
dude. Well, whatever. Like, I'm not saying that should be your intention. If that is a organic like byproduct, then so be it. Like, honestly, like the best way to get over a breakup is to invest in yourself and get better. And the way that you do that is by doing things that bring value to your life, that help you elevate your confidence, that make you more attractive. Just step up your personal development. Listen to more podcasts and audiobooks. Read more books. Go hard in the gym. Tighten up your diet. Like, step it up, man. Step it up. So again, you not only feel more confident, you not only like are projecting more energy into the world and better energy, but you now have the ability to attract. Now that you're on a higher level with that energy that you're putting out, you will then attract someone on a higher level into your life as well. If in fact that's what you want, or just stay single and just fucking have fun. You could do that as well. Do that. Save the energy and keep putting in yourself. Keep putting yourself, keep growing, keep getting better, keep raising the bar, keep elevating your standards. Because again, as you grow, as you evolve, you will continue to put out higher frequencies, better energies, which attract better things, including a significant other in your life. I mean, that is just basically what happens.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. One more thing. I think that like when you do, if you are getting dumped, right? You're single. You're fucking single.
Somebody
like
breaks up
you
with you.
have energy now that, you were dedicating towards a relationship, and you might not realize it at the time, but over time you're going to realize, damn, like I feel more energized, and it is going to take some time, but I think eventually a lot of people, I mean, I went through a breakup when I was young, and I'm like, damn, now I'm like, thank you, like for recognizing that I was kind of a shitbag, and I can get my shit together. I feel good now. You're going to feel good. You're going to have some energy, 100%.
Right on. All right, guys, just, a couple other things, we're kind of hitting the home stretch of the podcast here. Look, some of you guys, if you're not performing up to expectation at your job, you may get in a situation where you lose your job unexpectedly. And then honestly, it should never be unexpected, right? I mean, if you're not doing what the hell you're supposed to do and you lose your job, dude, that's on you, okay? And in this situation, you have two options. You can blame your boss. You can point fingers at your coworkers who didn't help you, who didn't whatever, right? And, let like in however long period of time go by where you're blaming and making excuses and bitter over the situation, and basically get yourself in debt, which will then just exacerbate the situation and make your circumstances and your negative mindset that much worse. Or you can recognize where you fell short, own the outcome, take responsibility, and go on the fucking warpath and find a new position where you now are able to go in a better place, understanding the mistakes that you made in the past, those valuable lessons that you have learned. And now you can basically go into a new company, a different person, a better person, and basically do what you need to do to basically reestablish yourself, prove yourself to a new team, prove yourself to a new boss, prove yourself to a new company, and do what you're supposed to do to earn your confidence back. Okay? It's productive action. That is the solution to everything that we're talking about. The last few things, scenarios, it is always productive action, not dwelling, not thinking about what happened. Recognize what has happened.
Yeah. Responsibility, take responsibility for it. Recognize what happened, take responsibility. Concentrate on the solution, not the problem, and then look for opportunity.
Take action,
right?
baby.
That's kind of what we're saying.
It
Those are
is.
great.
That's it. And look, that's the thing, man. Like, don't sit around blaming your boss. Don't sit around feeling stressed about the fact that you're not sure how you're going to pay your bills, and not be out there looking for a new job by not submitting resumes, by not like, look, and don't just like submit resumes and just sit around. Like, we actually have a new guy here, Alan, I think is his name. The new kid with the shaved head.
Yeah.
This kid, he applied, and I guess like nobody got back with him, whatever. He came up here and just showed up, knocked on Lee's door, and said, "Hey, I know you guys didn't call me, but I really, really want to work for this company, and I don't want to seem, he's like, I don't want to seem like overbearing here, but I just want you to know that, you know, my name is so and so. If you could look at my resume, I would really, really appreciate it. If not, you know, whatever." And Lee's like, "You know what? Come in here. Let's have a conversation."
That's great.
And then Lee, you know, gave him the job on the spot because the kid not only took the initiative with that, but he, you know, and obviously people who take that type of initiative, they have a certain mindset. Sure. So now he's here, and like, I like him. I mean, I don't really say that very much about new people. I usually have like an assessment period where, you know, I'm very selective. That's cool. Yeah, but it's situations that you have to take proactive action and force the result that you're after. Own your outcomes, learn from your past mistakes, and move forward. Look, you know, another very common thing that we hear about is people that have problems like with their coworkers, with their boss, with a subordinate, or, you know, this situation like that with work. And the fact is, guys, like, if you don't get along with somebody that you work with your boss, you know, a subordinate, just a coworker, if there's some like friction or conflict there, that is not going to go away on its own. If you think that you're just going to come in and do the same shit and that, like, that's just going to resolve itself and you guys are just going to like end up like, you know, being best buds or just being cordial, like, you will be very, very disappointed. Legitimately, I would say 97% of conflict in the workplace between coworkers and, you know, subordinate and boss situation, the majority of conflict is resolved on the other end of an uncomfortable conversation, which normally isn't actually uncomfortable at all, because once you start having it, you kind of see like the other person's perspective and understand what they were thinking. What's really happening is actually not really the case, and you guys get on the same page, you communicate, and then you both feel so much better, and like it's like an instant like release of all this shitty energy that's been bottled up. But dude, people like they avoid conversations at all cost, like, you know, thinking that by having the conversation, the other person in the middle of it's gonna like pull a knife on them or something. I mean, I don't understand it. Like, legitimately, if you have an issue with somebody at work, grow a set of balls, metaphorically, if you're a female, and go have a conversation. Look at that as not only as an opportunity to rectify the conflict or the, you know, the issues between the two of you guys, but an opportunity to do something uncomfortable that's going to help you level up, you know, your discipline, your mental toughness, all the things that we talk about. All right. And, you know, if you guys get yourself in a situation where you're behind on some bills and some financial issues, again, very important, recognize you got yourself in that situation. It, like, no matter how you slice it, okay, it's not your job that's not paying you enough. They're paying you the same before you got yourself in a hole. Keep that in mind. People want to do that. I've seen that.
Of course.
People get themselves in financial issues and all of a sudden they're underpaid and underappreciated. Fuck that. Don't do that. And then honestly, guys, if you're listening to the show, you do not strike me as the type of people who would be of that mentality. All right. Recognize the fact that you've got yourself in the financial issues. Take responsibility over it, and then take productive action to rectify it. And that can happen any number of ways. If you're late on some bills or some payments, communicate with the people, with the lenders, or, you know, your credit card company or whatever. Let them know. Communication goes a long way. All right. By you avoiding their phone calls,
makes a big difference.
It makes all the difference, not only in the resolution of the problem, but how you feel while you're having these issues. The stress levels are probably cut in 1/5. Communicate. People are understanding, but nobody likes to be avoided. Nobody likes to, you know, feel like, you know, you're being a low life and avoiding them. And I know it's uncomfortable, but it's the right thing to do. And that's what we do here, guys, no matter what. We always do the right thing. And in this situation, the right thing just so happens to be the thing that will make you feel better and allow you to do what you need to do to get yourself out of the situation as quickly as possible. And, again, if you're in a hole financially and you need to make some extra cash, well, have a conversation with your boss. Maybe there's an opportunity for you to work some extra hours, to put in some overtime. Maybe there's something that they could give you should you have the willingness to do it, right? Like, I think a lot of people will sometimes get themselves in financial stress and just bitch about it, complain about it, but not look for outlets to invest their energy into where they can immediately correct that.
Yeah, man.
You
The
know?
opportunity, right?
Exactly. And you have to create your own opportunity. People aren't going to understand or know that you have financial issues necessarily. So ask, have the conversation. Tell them, I got behind on a couple bills, and I understand it's personal, but you know what? You'll earn so much respect by being honest. And not only by being honest, by showing them that you have the willingness to, take responsibility of your problems and then, do something about it. The same thing like with business, right? If you're a business owner or you're an executive and, you're responsible for leading a team, look, within every adverse situation, within every crisis, within every like massive catastrophic failure that one experiences in business, there is always opportunity for growth. There's always opportunity to improve a process, to develop a team member. If you unexpectedly lose somebody that was, a big part of the organization, it's an opportunity for someone else to step up. Okay. Recognize that, focus on those things. And honestly, you will be able to navigate through those issues effortlessly and also create situations where you not only like dig yourself out of the hole, but you end up not back to like par, but you end up at a place that you have never been before. All right. And, the last thing, guys, and this is, I purposely left this last because this is one of those things that is out of your control. And it's something that will happen to every single one of us. And it's something that's just part of life. And that's losing someone who's closest to you. Yeah. And I have taken a stance on this that I feel is highly beneficial for everybody to understand, to embrace, and to also do what you can to attempt to instill this in other people. Because when we lose people that are closest to us, whether, it's just nature taking its course, or just unexpected tragedy or crisis, you have two options. You can mourn the loss, or you can celebrate the life. And that is two entirely different things.
Yeah. And you can mourn briefly because that's
right,
necessary to some extent.
It's inevitable to have that feeling.
It's along everything that we talked about. It's the same idea.
What are you focusing on? Yeah, are you focusing on the problem, or are you focusing on the solution? Which the solution in this case is like, unfortunately, they're gone.
No.
They're gone. They are without question in a better place. And the solution in this case now, because that is done, that is sorted, is you getting yourself to a better place. You leading your friends and your family who are also perhaps grieving, leading them through your actions and through the way that you handle it, showing them how to deal with things in a better place, so everybody can feel better in the shortest
putting it in the right
possible
perspective. It's recently I lost my dad, and it sucks. But when you think about perspective wise, I always think of my friend when we were younger. His dad died when he was not born yet, and he never knew his dad. And so when I look at perspective wise, I think, wow, it's like, yeah, my dad died, but I knew him for, he was 76, so I knew him a while, and not a lot of people get that opportunity.
Right.
So it's how you look at the perspective, and like I said, what you focus on.
Yeah,
celebrate his life.
You celebrate the life. I mean, because that's what I believe death gives us the opportunity to do. All too often, we get ourselves in situations where we don't really understand or appreciate things until after they're gone. And I think that that's just something that is always going to be the case to some degree. But again, the opportunity in death is it gives us the ability to collectively celebrate the life of an individual, to think about all the times that person.
Why did you love them?
To think about the times they put a smile on your face. Think about the times they made you proud. Think about the times that they were there for you to lift you up when you were down. And to be able to just feel and relish those feelings of just gratitude and love. And honestly, keeping in mind, if you really cared about this person, the chances are they really, really care about you. Yeah. And in the afterlife, wherever they're at, the last thing that they would want for someone that they care about is to know that you are suffering, that you are agonizing, that you were experiencing pain that was affecting in a negative manner your entire life. That to me is something I take very seriously, and I don't want to. I wouldn't want to let them down. I want them to be looking down on me and be proud of what I'm doing, to be proud of the person that I've become, and be proud of the fact that I've taken that time to celebrate their life, to honor them properly by celebrating their life and maintaining that perspective. And through my actions, lead the people around me to have that perspective as well.
I agree. It's a good perspective, because the other way is if you're always dwelling on the loss, it's just an endless black hole that can never be filled.
No,
but love can fill the other hole.
It can fill everything.
That's why you celebrate it.
Yep. Yeah. So that's it, man. That's all I got. Guys, I hope this has been well received, and a lot of good stuff today. I mean, I feel like this will probably be one of our better episodes, because this is something that is extremely relatable to so many people, in so many different elements of life. And looking forward to your feedback, guys. Again, please take the time, if you haven't already, to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. It would mean a lot to us, and also it helps us out a great deal. We're gonna keep it coming. We've got some momentum right now. This is episode 5. Guys, send your questions in if you got them to questions@starttodaypodcast.com. We're gonna have episodes allocated just to Q&A, and then some of the shorter episodes maybe we'll answer a couple questions at the end. But send them in. And guys, you got anything?
Just thanks for listening. Celebrate that adversity when it comes, because it will come.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in.
All right, guys, we will talk to you again soon. Kick ass this week. And, that thing that you've been procrastinating on, the thing you've been sleeping on, the thing that you've been, waiting for the perfect time or like a sign to, start taking that productive action towards bettering your life in some way. Well, consider this your sign, and this is the permission. Start today.